way back. And man, how far we go back? Already like way back, right?
We go back to high school days, you know, back to Mr. Pritchard's drama class, you know.
Man,
Yeah, Taney and D ran school together.
Man, listen, we had a great time. I'm not gonna lie. I had such a good time back then, you know, with the arts and them trying to take the arts out of school. I felt some type of way.
Yes. We need art. We need the art. We need the arts. The arts are important for kids because, you know, you have talented kids out there that need to express themselves. That's important. So, you know, we have to keep the arts in school because you have a lot of creative kids, music, drama, you know, art classes. Those things are important. Band, you know, all of those things are important for our children, you know, because, you know, that's the way to express themselves and, you know, and also grow their minds talent-wise.
Yes. You have to express it. You know what? Speaking of arts, I went to see The Color Purple again, the musical. Did you check that out yet?
I haven't had a chance to see it yet. You know, my schedule's kind of busy, but I really want to see it. You know, I don't know when I'm going to be able to, but I've heard great things. I've heard a lot of people say some great things about it. A lot of great people in it, a lot of great talent.
Man, yes. And you know what? I saw it several places, you know, in several states.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that being done here in Youngstown, Ohio, I was so excited. It was amazing. And we have great talent. That's why I said, don't sleep on the yo. We have great talent. And what really warmed my heart was it's the younger ones that's doing it.
Yeah.
Bringing it.
It's a lot of great young talent here, and it's important that, you know, that talent does get that exposure, and especially, you know, people think Youngstown don't got no talent, but Youngstown has flourished a lot of talent. You know, the whole trifecta, really, it's like Youngstown, Warren area has a lot of talented people. You know, we've had talented people here for years, you know, and it's like
years.
Sleep on the yo because, you know, we got great singers, we have dancers, we have great musicians, we have great actors, we have a lot of different talent here. So it's like we're, you know, we are that little mecca that has a lot of great talent, you know.
A little jackpot. We the jackpot. But you know what? A lot of people, you know, a lot of talent came, you know, from the Youngstown area, go out, boom, do their thing. And what I noticed is that some of the talent that leaves Youngstown have the tendency to not say that they're from Youngstown.
Well, I do have a problem with that because I feel like there's nothing wrong with repping your city. You know what I'm saying? It's like wherever I go, I'm gonna rep Youngstown. I don't care, you know, where I'm at, what I'm doing. You know, I don't care how high of a mountain I climb. I'm gonna always rep my city. This is where I'm born and raised at, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And you know, and always rep your city. You know what I'm saying? It's important that you rep your city because people know Youngstown. You know, it's like if you hear a lot of the music and different artists, I remember Camera had out a song and he talked about Youngstown and it blew my mind. I'm like, what do you know about Youngstown? You know, and he spoke about Youngstown. I was like, wow, you know, he must have been to the yo. So there's people that's been here, they know about Youngstown.
They know about the yo. They do. They definitely know about the yo. I tell you what's interesting. When President Barack mentioned Youngstown, I said, what? That, you know what I mean? But yeah, we have greats. We got, I mean, we got greats. And before they used to call Youngstown Little Chicago. So it was like, oh, wait, that's the bang, bang, shoot 'em up city. And now, you know, what are we in the top 10 or something of poorest cities? You know what I mean? So I don't know what that was about. And I'm trying to look at it as maybe, you know, once people got out there, and I'm talking like 20 years ago, hopefully people are like coming out and being proud of their city. They probably thinking that they didn't know about Youngstown. And it's, you know, like Cleveland, Columbus, you know, you've heard of those places, but Youngstown's like, okay, this is where I'm from. Not really. You know what I mean? The home base is here, but yeah, we push them now. We birthing them, okay? Birthing them, pushing them out.
You can't say that. You gotta rep the yo. I mean, because we've had a lot of great people come here. You know, we've had a lot of great musical artists. We've had presidents come here. You know, Bill Clinton's been here numerous of times. You know, so it's like you cannot say Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati without repping Youngstown because we sit center of everything, you know. So like I said, a lot of talent has been here. You know, a lot of big name artists have came here and done concerts, and there are been a lot of epic events here. So I mean, how could you not represent Youngstown? How can you not put Youngstown on the map? You know?
Right, because we had like even they have the new rap artist that was coming out at the our convention center. But remember when we had the Star Palace?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
We had the Palace, we had Heavy D, Salt and Pepper, Fat Boys. I didn't miss a concert. The UTFO crew was at the Elks. I was like, hi, with Roxanne. I was up in there with my little feet out on, we had so much fun, and it was people that actually say, hey, let's do this for the youth, because that was amazing to me. It was like, okay, let them have fun, because all of that was crazy. Kid and Play, getting the opportunity to open up.
I was at the Kid and Play concert. I was there, when Kid and Play came. Me and my cousin went to go see Kid and Play. That was cool. I mean, Stamp Auditorium was packed, and that was just a great time. But like I said, we've had so many different artists here. And like I said, back then, when it was like the early 90s, it was all about having a good time. And that's when, it was fun to go and do concerts. And
that was the 80s though.
Yeah. What do you mean?
When with Kid and Play and Salt and Pepper.
That was like early 90s. It was like, yes, it was. That was in the 90s. I remember being there. I thought that was like the early 90s.
I wasn't in school. I was still in school. But I don't know. But anyway, I think it was like, it might have been 90. It might have been 90.
I'm telling you, I was out of school. It might have been 89, 90 around there somewhere. But I remember going to that concert, and that was pretty epic. And me and my cousin had a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? So. And
the variety shows, the talent shows.
Yeah, we did a lot of those. We had Destiny in high school. Me and my boys, we had a group called Destiny. We did our gong shows at D-Ran School, and we won those. And then we did South High variety shows. They were the best, because it showcased talent. So, and a lot of people have went on to go on and do great things from those,
Absolutely.
Shout out to my cousin Black Rose, who's doing his thing musically with JoJo and Casey and the Jodeci band, so it's like you have a lot of different people out here that are still doing things musically and acting. I see my man Josh Tripp all the time. Josh Triplett doing commercials and doing shows. So you got a lot of great people.
Remember the dancing Levinsky Smith.
Oh yeah, Levinsky. I just seen him the other day. One talented brother, man. Sing, dance, act. He could do all those great things. We have a lot of great people.
And he has a lot of commercials. He was on Broadway he had a great run there. He was with Cats. It was like amazing when Cats came out. It was like, oh, Levinsky is there. It's just a lot. And he has a lot of commercials. You guys got to just Google Youngstown. That's what they need to do. Talent from Youngstown. Boy, the Google search would be like, wait a minute. We behind, you know what I mean? Doing it, but yes, I want to give a shout out to Travell. Amazing. He was the director of The Color Purple, and like I said, I saw it last night. I was so happy. It warmed my heart. I had an amazing time. The talent was amazing. The ensemble was amazing. To see everything was so perfect, and I just loved it. I was like, that's it. And the musical director was Mazzarell, a great talent. And just seeing the younger people and not just older ones, like, this is what I did, this is it, you know what I mean, and this is what we're doing. And shout out to you, Marty, because Marty's older. I was with him at the Playhouse, Youngstown Playhouse, years ago, and he had a part in there too. But it was just like it was just like, yeah, this is it. Let's do it. Let's see what's happening. And seeing the talent and skill that they have, and how, it's, and I seen them work with, some of the older ones as well, older talents. And I said, there's iron sharpened irons. There's so many times where you have the youth coming in, and some of the older people feel like, or seasoned folk, I'll just say that, feel like, no, I didn't have a part, and then I'm not partaking, or I won't support, or wait, we don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I just love to see their minds flourish and their imagination go and know that they can be bigger than their city. And that's why I want to go. Now let's get, did I introduce you yet?
Yeah, I think
No,
you
did I? I just got right in it. We known each other forever. All right, let me do it the right way. Let's give him a shop talk welcome. Okay, we gotta give RB a shop talk welcome. Let's give it up to my guest and co-host today, which he hosts all the party, MC the parties. RB, if you don't know him, check him out. Get his information. He'll have it all the way live rocking, especially once we're allowed outside again. So let's give it up for RB.
Thank you again. Shout out to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you again, Mel, for having me. I appreciate it. You know, it's always, you know, a good time. You know, we've been doing this for a long time. I remember the first time we did it down at the radio station, you know.
Yeah. Look, yeah, having a good time.
You know.
So let's jump right into it. And today's topic, for those who don't know, I'm gonna give you this number right now so y'all can feel free to call in and voice your opinion live. Y'all already know how we do it, or you can text if you don't want people to know who you are. The phone number here is 619-902-2287, 619-902-2287 to Shop Talk Live with your girl Mel and RB. We on the mic.
No doubt. Yeah, we
yes. Right, let's talk about this real quick. And it probably isn't going to be too fast, but today's topic is I should have listened to my mind. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My mind is telling me no, but his body told him yes, and now he is looking at some time. The R. Kelly.
Out of time.
The R. Kelly. Yes, so his sentencing will be in May of next year for the time. They're looking at a minimum of 10 years. He was guilty on all 9 counts. Want to put this out here for you lovely people. And the racketeering, did you see? I know you saw a little bit of it, right?
I've seen it like every day. It's like it's popped up on YouTube. So I've had a chance to read a lot of the articles. And I found it interesting because Bill Cosby has something to say about it. You know? Wow.
I saw that. I'm like, if you don't like zip it.
Bill Cosby was like, you know, he getting railroaded. I'm like, okay, that's interesting for him of all people to speak up, you know. So I saw that on social media and I was like, okay, Bill's speaking up. That's interesting.
Yeah, he needs to be quiet. He needs his people to talk for him.
Yeah,
like, or not say nothing.
That's a whole nother topic, you know. That's a whole nother discussion, I guess you would say. So, but as far as R. Kelly goes, it's like, man, it's like, I mean, what do you say? He's been doing that for a long time. So it's like it's not nothing that nobody didn't know, you know. And it's like, you know, now it's finally catching up with him, you know.
So you think he's guilty?
Do I think he's guilty? I mean,
let me ask you this question. Okay. And this is just opinion, and let's put this disclaimer out here. For the sake of conversation, we're going to address some issues that you probably won't agree with, but you know how I do it on Shop Talk. So this is how it's going to roll. And and also like our views and our opinions that does not reflect the people or the staff of Shop Talk with Mel. Okay. Pre the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, did you think that he was guilty?
Well,
go ahead. I want to hear.
R. Kelly's been doing his thing for a long time. That's the only way I can put it.
So that would say a yes.
I would say, in my opinion, you know, the way the evidence looks, and I never really watched the Surviving R. Kelly series, so I didn't really get into that because it's like, you know, he's been doing the thing for a long time, and it's like it's been in and out of the news, so it's not like it's not reported, you know. So it's like, you know, even with excuse me, with the whole Aaliyah thing, you know what I'm saying? It kind of started back then, you know, and it's been well known for a long time that he's like underage women, underage girls. So it's like, it's not anything new, but and I've seen people talk about how, well, what about the parents? How do the parents let their daughters, do these things and go with them and things of that nature? So it's just a lot of different things that have, transpired and came to light, people, his people talking about him and, things of that nature, so it's like they know for years what R. Kelly's been doing, it's not nothing new. In my opinion, the I'll say this, I'll say the cards are stacked against them. That's what I got. It's not about no railroading. It's like, come on, you know what you've been doing,
Okay, now let's break this down a little bit. Let's break it down a little more deeper. My opinion prior to the surviving R. Kelly, I thought that there was some issues in there. I was like, oh, okay, he like younger girls. That's not a good idea because we know it has been going on for years and it's not just with him. Then after I watched Surviving R. Kelly, I said, this is a lot of women. Now, the sex tape, like I tell people, my first porn was watching that tape. I didn't have it. I didn't have it, so don't get me for child porn, okay? I ain't want no parts of it. But I was like, oh my gosh, that's like you could tell that she was a little girl because I needed to see that, And I said, now that's a little girl, that's not okay. And him videoing it was just really odd to me. Like, why would you even video a little girl? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't know that she was a little girl. I mean, I looked at the child's breasts, like her areolas wasn't even fully developed. You know what I mean? But look, my first porn, my first sex tape I saw was that one. Isn't that terrible?
I've seen the tape too. Yeah, it was quite graphic, and it was like, really?
A little girl. She looked like a little girl.
Right.
I mean, clearly. Then I saw Surviving R. Kelly, and I saw that music teacher. I believe she was the music teacher. And when she spoke on there, I said, okay, this is an ongoing thing. And then as I was reading different articles and, from before, I said, okay, Chicago know this, but they don't want to just bring him down. They know that he liked little girls, trolling the high schools, the whole nine. Now, I remember being in high school, and there were the old cats that we used to be calling them pimps. I used to be laughing. They come pulling up, and you saw some of the chicks that was going with these pimps. I was like, oh, they grown. You know what I mean? I'm still looking at the cat with the jerry curl, with, parachute pants. You know what I'm saying? Wingtip. Nice.
Yeah.
Somebody pulling up.
But that's been going on for years. I remember in high school, teachers was messing with students,
for real?
Men and women. So, it was a lot of that going on. But by him being such a high profile person, you know what I'm saying? It's like, of course, it's like kind of a tip the scale type situation, Chicago, you got some people that still rocking with him. I heard that on the radio the other day, and they was like, well, I ain't gonna stop listening to his music. I mean, one of the greatest musical artists of our times, and it's like, but still, he's still a human being. And there is a thing that is called right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? And there, you make choices. You know what I'm saying? So he made his choices.
He did. He did. He definitely made his choices. Now, I want to go into that a little bit more because, yes, he got caught. Am I happy he got caught? I was having a conversation with someone and they were talking about the trial, because they, they told you some of the stuff, because remember, no cameras or anything was allowed in the courtroom. But they said it was so graphic. Now, some people, they into freaky stuff. Some people are into freaky things. Now, here's my thing. For the sake of conversation, minors off limits. Right. That's just me. Minors off limits, even though we know it has been going on for a long time. We talk about Elvis. Remember he married her, what was she, 14 years old? So that was like a thing with, him and Leah, and it was like, oh, wait a second, but to her mother, like, they stopped that, put the brakes on that thing. Then you have, and I've read What about Elijah Muhammad?
I've heard a
Yeah,
lot
some of y'all gonna be mad. Y'all gonna be mad, but
I've heard a lot of things about, different ones, over the years in history. But for some odd reason, it's like they brush past certain people. You know what I mean? Like
high
Elvis,
profile, high profile,
you
high
know,
profile.
what was his name? Jerry Lee somebody, he was a well-known artist, as well that, was dealing with younger girls,
James, he already said she was 17.
right. And
Minute.
my whole thing of it is like, I feel like you said, minors are off limits. Let's just talk about it. It's like, if you are under the age of, to me, 18, I'm sorry, under 20 is just too young because you're taking someone's innocence,
No,
and I feel, go ahead.
I believe, don't quote me on it. I need you guys to look and verify, but this was a few years ago. Well, several years ago. I think it was 16, 15 or 16 in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's still too young. I feel like, that's way too young because at that age, you're still not fully developed. You're still growing. So to me, I feel like you should be a certain age. And yes, in other states, I feel that that's wrong, because I feel like, you're too young for that type of experience because
okay, so it has to be like an attractiveness. I'm thinking. Like, are you attracted to these people? I gotta get me a pedophile to call in because I know they ain't gonna want to be. Because listen, we know they out there, they be neighbors. To call in because I know they ain't gonna want to show their face. But it has to be an attraction. And there's, what they're trying to say. Also, I want to put that out there. They're trying to make it a law that pedophiles. Remember Jared from Subway?
Yeah, I remember.
They're trying to say it's a mental illness. They're trying to.
It really is a mental illness because I believe that R. Kelly went through that at one point in time. I believe he was molested, him and his brother.
Right.
So, and I believe that people sometimes in their mind, they think that that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That it's okay to do that. And it's really not, you know what I'm saying? So, I believe being a pedophile is a sense of mental illness because a lot of times what happens is, they're molested, and they went through some mental trauma in their life to where they have had to, deal with it. And a lot of times they haven't dealt with it and they think that those things are okay and it's really not.
Okay. So with that being said, and you believe it's a mental illness, I believe people are sick. I do.
Yeah.
Which changes, guess what though? It changes the law, the stipulations or the punishment changes when it's mental illness involved.
I believe it is. I believe it is a sense of mental trauma, and that happens in different variations in life. We all have a sense of mental trauma, and people don't realize that the mind does get sick. Working in the medical field for 6 years, working at the hospital, you have to realize that the mind can catch a cold and catch a flu just like the body does. If that makes sense. And it's like, people go through mental illness all the time, you know what I'm saying? But we brush that over. And I feel like R. Kelly was, dealing with some mental trauma, because
I believe that.
Yeah. Just the way he's, just the things that I've read and the things that I've seen, the documentaries and, and the articles I've read about him, it's like, it was a lot of control things. And so, yeah, there had to be some mental issues going on outside of the music. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, beyond the, beyond his mental situation, the man is a great talent. He is very talented musically, producing, singer, songwriter, all of those things. But yet and still, I believe that he has a lot of torment, because you can tell by his past and the things that he's done.
Okay, I'm gonna go to a viewer, Nick. Hey, Nick, miss you, Jerry Lee Lewis. That's who she was saying. Yeah. So thanks. Look, Nick, we miss you as well. Here's the thing: when Do I believe that people are sick? I do. If you look at a child and are attracted to a child, I do. That's me. However, comma, you harm somebody else and you need to pay for that. Don't begin all talking about some, oh, okay, they're not mentally stable to stay in trial. Or no, you have to pay the price. Guess what? You should have got some help. And if you didn't, maybe get some while you're locked down. That's my thoughts. That's why I have an issue with that, because it's like, okay, you knew, but you did what? You still made a decision to harm someone else. You know how it harmed you, and you did it to someone else. I was talking a few weeks back. I did have a guy on who was molested by a pedophile, and his perpetrator, and I'm using air quotes for a listening audience, was a pastor, high profile. And I asked him the question at the end, and this was about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. And I asked him, have he harmed anyone? And he could not answer that question. So it does happen. And then I didn't even want to know the answer, because I knew the answer, because he could not answer that question. So I don't know what happens. Thank God I haven't gone through it. It's just like, and I don't want to be in their mind, but I do ask those questions, like, what's really going on? And did you seek treatment, and did the treatment help? What do you think would help better? You know what I mean? What do you think would have helped you? You know what I mean? So that we can implement those things and bring, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this happened to them. I'm older. Let me say this to the younger people. This is what helped me. Maybe this can help you. That's just my thing. Go ahead.
The thing of it is, it's been going on for years. It's been going on for a long time in the Catholic churches, and and different other things, different other entities has been going on. And it's really sad, and it's really, like I said, it's a mental issue. It's mental trauma. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, if it's happened to them, then what happens is that they think it's okay to happen to somebody else. And then, it just kind of, it's like a germinating seed, it just keeps on growing. And so the thing of it is that, it's like somebody has to sever that tie, or cut that, or kill that particular seed, because nobody's trying to get help with it. So now you have to look at, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why was anybody trying to help R. Kelly? Why was anybody?
You know what? From the interviews, and even before Surviving R. Kelly came out, I think it was like a bodyguard or cousin, whoever it was, or brother, somebody told him, they were trying to talk to him. I think he was, how you have serial killers. I think he's like a serial molester. And I believed that he was guilty when he did, well, actually, even listen to some of the stuff, I'll tell you. When he did the Gayle King, when Gayle King interviewed him, now I'm not some type of lie detector specialist. When she asked him about sex with underage women, please go back and look at this after the show, though. This is what he said. I don't want my glasses to fall off. No came out of his mouth, but yes came from his head. And go back, and his yes was like he was trying to say no, but he was saying yes. I said, now that's a liar. Look, I was like, he told the truth. And then another thing, you video it. Why would you video a young child? You wanted to get caught. You wanted something leaked. And then another thing, he called himself the Pied Piper. Do we remember the story of the Pied Piper?
I just remember the story of the Pied Piper. And I was just telling somebody that. I was talking about how he said he was the Pied Piper. And getting back to the Gayle King interview, I mean, come on. The man made himself look totally guilty, because of his whole rant and rave throughout the whole interview was just totally like,
probably trying to be upset, like, how dare you? You know what I mean? I say Maury enough times to kind of be like, no, Maury, no. And then the lie detector determined that was a lie.
Come on. But all he was doing, it was just so over the top. And to me, it was like, okay, yeah. I mean, that interview played in my head for a long time. I'm like, come on.
It played. He was an unaware liar. He should have never done that. And when he got up upset, the whole nine, she was just chilling like, But when she flat out asked him the question, this is what he said. No, absolutely no. I was like, he said yes. Body language is something, y'all. Body language is powerful.
Body language will definitely tell on you, you know. And of course, he was not. I don't believe his people actually, like, you can tell, like, when you have people around you, you know, because a lot of those stars do, you know, representation, whatever. They tell you, look, make sure you do it this way. Make sure you say it that way. Make sure you handle yourself this way. Make sure you look straight ahead, you know.
Mhm.
And when you don't do that, you know, like I said, you know, you come on national television and you do that, you know, the people kind of look at you and go, believe there's something wrong here, you know, because like you said, body language tells everything.
It definitely does. Let's go to a viewer. Viewer said all that money he could have any woman he wanted, but he chose children. Yes.
It's true.
And you know what? I believe him having all of that money. Let's be realistic here. All right. Realistic, 100%. You work for someone. This is your job.
Right.
You can tell that person 1,000,000 times over what's wrong. You can tell your boss that's not, if they're approachable. So that's first.
Right.
This is my livelihood. Right. Am I going to get terminated if I say this? This is what he wants. This is not right, dude. You shouldn't be doing that. Get out of here. You know what I mean? So do you find another job? And we know it was, you know, as far as back then, you know, jobs now, they hand over fist, here you go, you know? And it's like, right. And you're with a celebrity, you're with the guy, so you're working with R. Kelly. So do you tell him no? Do you turn him in and quit for somebody else who brought their child to him?
But here's the thing about it. R. Kelly has so much control of everything.
That's who's signing your checks.
You know, so it's like the control that he had, you know, with his people. It was like, you know, in his articles I've read, you know, where he was like, you know, you got ridiculed about any and everything. And I had even seen a recent interview with his ex-wife.
Oh, man. Oh, that girl, Andrea, whoever.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Which is a whole nother other topic and a whole nother other.
We're gonna get to her. We're gonna get to her mess.
So yeah, so that's the whole thing. It's like the control thing, because he is the man and he is a megastar, you know, in music. So of course, you know, when you get with those particular people, you know, they have those rules. You know, you can't say this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's a number of different things that go on. You know, it's like, you know, my whole thing of it is, you know, they have confidentiality clauses, non-disclosure clauses, you know. So,
and she was a dancer.
Yeah.
She was a dancer, so she was in the camp, so she kind of knew how it was rolling.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And still married him, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, when those people get in that situation, you know, I believe that they get starstruck. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, well, I'm with this person, so he's paying me this and this and that, you know. So, you know, it's not no joke. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, it's just crazy.
You know who I have mad respect for? Sparkle. Sparkle. Yeah. When she's like, that's my niece, like, no. You know what I mean? And her you know, her career, they said didn't take off, but we knew. We definitely, you know what I mean? We knew who Sparkle was. Yeah.
Yeah. R. Kelly shut down. So.
Right. But you know what? That's who I have mad respect for. And I know that it's a victory for her. I know that it's a victory for her. There was a victory for some of the other women. And then there was one that said she lied about it after she got on the stand. She said she lied about a lot of things, but we know that there was some guilt. I mean, and like I said, I knew, hey, they go to company. And I knew that there was going to be some type of issue. It's hard to hush a child, honey. Look, you know that.
Walk into the room.
Okay, here, let me do this, and then I'll continue. All right. The my thing is, she knew what he did prior to. I can see your face. See, body language is something. I can see your face. I just muted you. It's okay. I'll carry it. And then after she goes on and she kept her married last name of Kelly so people could know who she was. So I thought that she was just out there like as an opportunist, honestly, during this time. Do I believe that she had experienced some of the things? She said that she didn't, and she didn't know. He kept that from her with the other people in there. She wasn't allowed in the studio or anything like that. And I said, or, you know, in the studio or him with the other women at all. I said, okay. But now she's on there talking about this is her children's legacy. Now you worried about your children? Like, come on. You know what I mean? So it's like, give me a break. Let me know when you have to unmute yourself once you're clear and the room is quiet again. You can unmute yourself again. But I just felt like now you want to sit there and say your child's legacy, this is what's going on. I just feel some type of way. I just feel some type of way about her. I'm not feeling her. Not at all. So I just think that she just took advantage of that situation. Some people are saying they're saying that now Aaliyah can rest peacefully. I didn't know Aaliyah was having an issue. I didn't know that she was actually having an issue at all. You know, so I was just sitting there like, okay, they're saying Aaliyah can rest peacefully, but I didn't think Aaliyah had the bad end of the stick. And, you know, they have this story. Aaliyah he married her. So she was like the chosen one.
Right, I'm back.
Okay. And then she survived him. She left, she was doing her thing and still had her whole music career going on, rock the boat, she was still doing her thing, and she moved on into another relationship. I don't think she wanted to revisit any of this stuff, honestly. I didn't think she wanted to revisit. That's why she was, you know, out of it the first go round. When they tried to pull her in that last case that he had, they tried to pull her into that stuff. It's like, were you under? She didn't want no parts of that. Get out of here. So I think that she was pretty much okay. Me personally.
Well, she probably had the right people in her ear to get her away from that situation. Because I think
her parents.
Yeah, and the last person that she dated was Damon.
Right.
Yeah.
So she moved past that, and she was still doing it. And I think that she was the only one. So you have people who were having mixed, you know, they were mixed messages because they felt like she had her they felt like she made it. They wanted to make it, they didn't, and she did her thing. And then you also had what's her name? She did her thing. Oh, the parents that brought their children to the concerts. You had them.
Right.
Like, come on. So if you heard about Aaliyah, you heard about this young video, because I know that I saw the video. So you know about this is what was going on. Why would you let your child sit there and not be in the studio with them, and you can't be with them? I'm sorry, I can't partake in this.
No. And that's a problem that I would have, because I would never let my minor child be in the studio with a grown man who I do not know and do not know what they're capable of, because the music industry is a monster.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy, you know, how they would let him do the things that they did, but you know, money, you know, and that's what it's all about, money. It's about opportunity and money.
Right. And see, that's where I'm at. I feel like if he was guilty, all of those people that enabled him should be guilty, and those parents. And then here's the thing. I mean, I can't remember the folks' names anymore, because you know, I knew it when they was first doing their thing, but I just feel like, give me a break. You allowed your child, you took your child under a minor to the R. Kelly concert. We already know 12 play, he didn't gave you all the steps. Now y'all done rocked to R. Kelly, probably made your child to some R. Kelly music. And then you bring your child to an R. Kelly concert. You know, this stuff was in our ears for a long time, the possibility. So why, if the possibility of him being a pedophile is in your mind, why would you take the chance and sacrifice your child?
It's not about a possibility. He is. He's a pedophile.
Well,
period.
but I'm saying before the people that's constantly bringing their child, and then okay, well they're there, and you're not gonna go to the studio, like no, and then all of a sudden you lost control, and he took total control of your child. Y'all know how sex work. Come on.
Because it's about money.
And then now you want to say he did this and he did that because you have no control over your child.
Of course, because of the fact of the matter is that now that everything's transpired, now they want to bring everything to the surface, and so that's what happens. People do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Look at Michael Jackson. Look how they played Michael Jackson. When you talk about different
high profile, and then after he dies, then you say you lied.
Exactly.
See, that's where I am with that. Now let's fast forward a bit. Back to R. Kelly. Do you think that since the Me Too movement is going on, that's why it's like, oh no, we're gonna hammer him and bring him back? And that's probably why Bill Cosby said they were railroading him.
Well, I don't feel like they're railroading him. I mean, come on, the evidence is there. The evidence has been there. We're not blind, and we're not stupid to the fact that the man has been doing this for a long time.
Okay.
They just decided to say, okay, now we got enough, so let's go ahead and go get him. When they should have had him years ago, when it came to Aaliyah.
So but Aaliyah wasn't coming up. She didn't want no parts of that. They kept trying to pull her in while she was alive. And to me, go ahead.
Because Aaliyah wanted the music, that's what she wanted. She wanted the music more than anything. And so, of course, she survived R. Kelly in that retrospect.
Totally.
But she wanted the music more than anything. So that's what her main focus was. I want this music. And so that's what she did. Her parents broke her away from him, got him away from him, and then she moved fast forward her career into music. So that's what happened.
Yeah, she I think it was an uncle that introduced her to R. Kelly, and I'm gonna say I gotta give him his props. He's a musical genius. He has the talent.
Right.
But there's so many artists, so many celebrities out there that have a talent, an excellent talent. But they got some other stuff at the house that people don't really know about. It's like,
come on, man. The music industry have been doing crazy stuff for years. It's so many different people that have been doing different things. So it's like, it's not nothing that's not new. It's just some people about, some people that you don't. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the moment. So that's what happens.
Now, see, we used to read about the information that I did. The information I used to get from the celebrities was out of the Right On magazine.
Right On magazine. Shout out to Right On.
Now with social media, and you could just reach out and touch or communicate with your celebrity, who you're fanning off of, because I don't like to call them idols. You could fan out and you could just communicate with them. So now you're seeing all of their business out there. Everybody's putting everything out.
Right.
But here again, this stuff has been going on. And you said, just like some people, like Rick James, remember that case he had? I can't remember. It was before way before he passed. And when he had kept the girl, I guess for a week, held her hostage for like a week.
Yeah, burning her with cigarettes and all of that. I heard about that.
Yeah. Now he could have did like life in prison, but he got off on that part. Right. And then he was making a comeback before he died with off that Dave Chappelle. Remember that True Hollywood story or something other when he was getting ready to look, I see the parent face.
Because he's right here, he right up under me. He knows.
Just something like so that okay. The
trying to get kids to come get him, so
okay.
Yeah, so my little is one.
That's how we rock and roll.
Yeah, but as far as the Rick James things goes, it's like, he was, like I said, it's been going on in the industry for years, but it's just like, it just depends on who's trying to bring it to light.
Now let's be real. Let's be real. Rick James, super freak. Like
Yes, sir.
He's telling you all this stuff. Now, who is going to Rick James' house if you don't want to be freaked and drugged? He is telling you this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like what? Come on.
Yeah.
What is the rhythm? What is it? Gloria Estefan, the rhythm is gonna get you. People listening to the rhythm, they listen to the words. Y'all need to listen to the words.
Yeah,
because these people are telling you.
That's what they've been doing for a long time, and it's not like it's not known. Like I said, I mean, I watched a documentary with the people that ran with George Clinton. They said George Clinton was getting people high. They was like, he wouldn't even pay the band members the money. He would go get drugs and had everybody getting high.
Now you listen to the Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're gonna get high. That concert, I hosted that concert.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been crazy if I would have thought that I wasn't gonna smell no weed.
That's what they're known for.
You know what I'm saying? So if you know what I mean, you kind of know what you're going into.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go to the hotel because I don't smoke, so I'm not gonna. Why be there?
But if and I'm not trying to get off subject with R. Kelly, but if you look at the situation with these artists, they basically tell you this is what I'm into. R. Kelly, they know R. Kelly was all about the sex, all about being freaky. So George Clinton was all about smoking and getting high. Rick James was a super freak. So they basically telling you in their music, this is what I do, this is what I'm all about. So it's not like people didn't know about R. Kelly. They knew about R. Kelly.
I.e. the topic of this show, the title. My mind is telling me no.
Right.
My body's telling me yes. Like I should have listened to my mind. So you knew it was wrong, but you still did it. Right.
Well, I heard Jay Prince say this quote, and this quote sticks with me. He said, "Every day you wake up, you got a chance and a choice." So it's all about choices that you make. If you make that choice, then that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. So people don't realize that when you take that chance, you know what I'm saying, you're also making a choice.
Yes.
You have to understand that people have made those choices. They chose to do what they wanted to do.
So tell me, do you continue to do when you know you can pay somebody to get off? And not you per se personally, but do you continue to do wrong when you know you can pay to get off?
No.
If the people, not you personally, but I'm saying, but go ahead.
I feel like, if he gets off, I believe he's definitely going to continue. It's not going to stop. So he's that type of person where, if he's not seeking help or not getting treatment, he's going to do what he got to do. And he's going to find another way to do what he wants to do. But I just don't understand, I just don't like the fact, and this is my personal opinion, I just don't like the fact that he's involving minors. You are a grown man who can have, like they said, any woman that he wants. At the snap of a finger, R. Kelly can have the flyest woman in the world. Look at his concerts, I mean, there's nothing but women there, and you choose young women. That's like, why not have a woman your age? You could have been a Hugh Hefner of
maybe he looking at her vagina looking like some chitlins, and he's like,
I don't know, but see, you never know what goes on in a person's mind, the way that they think. So it's like you have to be aware of, what's going on with that person.
Now you do have some guys, and I'm not a guy, but I spoke to a few that they are excited to take someone's virginity. And it's like, this is what I want to do. And usually they say, now I remember this, they say, whoever you lose your virginity to, they have your mind. So that's
pretty much how it works. It's like you never forget your first time. You never forget the first person that you've been with. That's something that you hold on to forever. because that's your first time. So that's your first experience in that particular, you know, in that particular, I would say, well, I won't say particular, but your first sexual experience is something that you never forget. Let's talk about it. You know, it's like you always will remember that. You know, you remember the person's name, the place, where, you know, where you did it, how it was, you know. So it's like that's something that you don't forget. You know, that's something that always will live with you.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that I was surprised with. I was surprised that it only took 9 hours for them to deliberate, for the jurors to deliberate.
That's kind of like, you know, that was kind of a shock too. I'm like, okay, it really took that long and all of that's going on. So yeah, it's something else.
Now the racketeering, the
Mm-hmm.
racketeering charge, it kind of just threw me. It threw me because me personally, I feel like a lot of people actually just kind of like, they saw Surviving R. Kelly, they saw all these, you know, he was in the media over decades
Mm-hmm.
for the same thing. And it's like, okay, yeah, get him. But when you look at the charge and you're actually a juror, you have to look at the information that's given to you at that moment and what they're being charged with. But me personally, 9 hours, I said, oh, they took everything. Like, yeah, they need to get him on everything. 9 counts, 1, 2, 3, all of them guilty. Of course, he had his mask on, so nobody could see his response. But like I said, I believe that he really wanted to be caught, just like they do, like the serial killers. They leave clues and stuff like that. I'd be watching some of those shows, you know.
And a lot of those.
He just told it. He told it. And it's like, even, and it makes me wonder about those parents as well. You brought your child there. Do you know the story of the Pied Piper? Listen to what this man is saying. Like you said, in the music, they're telling you exactly what's going on. And here you go. So here's parents. Here you go. Take my child.
No,
Come
because
on.
that's just all the way wrong. You know what I'm saying? For you to allow your child to, because it's this person. I'm like, where's your common sense? Your common sense is saying that.
And it makes me wonder if they were like, you know, well, how's your daughter doing? Oh, and she with R. Kelly. Were the parents starstruck?
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's very complicated, but it's really not complicated, because when you listen to the fact that this man has done all these different things for years, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? And it's really sad that people are so starstruck that they would just do anything to get their child in that situation.
Now, I will tell you this, that's really interesting. What's really interesting to me is, this is why I think he lost the case, honestly. Guilty on all 9 counts. When his attorney had the nerve to quote the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Now, what you want to put them in the same sentence for? I said he lost. I was like, his attorney working for the other side. Because
I read that. Now that right there was just really not an intelligent move, because you can't compare King and R. Kelly. So yeah.
No correlation at all. At all. Honestly. Not at all. It was just really, really different for me. And I was like, yep, he lost that case. When I found out, man, listen, that body language is hilarious. Y'all laughing at that body language. The viewers probably looking like, yep, they go to body language.
I'm trying to get my kids out of here. You know, we was doing good. Go get your brother some milk. Get out of here. Get him some milk. But yeah, his whole, I mean, like when I read that.
Active father to the listeners and the viewing audience. That's all right. It's all gravy. I know how it is, but that's good. Parenting. You got to parent at all times. And the interesting thing with parenting is you never know how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you never know how it's gonna go. All right. Go ahead. Did you want to say something else to that?
I just wanted to say, you know, with the attorney quoting that, I just feel like that was just not a good move. And I don't know where that came from. That came way from left field.
Yes.
And that makes no sense, you know, but I guess he thought that would help. But I'm like, that wasn't the most intelligent decision. And for me, it was like, you know, every time I read something, because it would literally pop up on my YouTube every day. If I went on YouTube, R. Kelly this, R. Kelly that, I'll read the articles, and then I would see different things going on, and it would just be like, are y'all serious? You know, like, so every time I read something, and like to me, it's just so, it's like to me, they draw so many things out. Okay. So it's just so many different things going on that, you know, with this situation, it's like, are y'all serious? Are y'all really thinking here? Like, you know, I mean, the way that the way that the process of the judicial system is just like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? How they do different things. So the way I look at it is, it's like, man, it's like excuse me, I can't even say the word. The judicial system is just like, that process is just so crazy and so tedious and so over the top sometimes. It's like y'all know this man is guilty. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can have a serial killer tell you I did it, but they want to draw it out, you know, of course, money. You know what I'm saying? You know, they want
That's what they want to do.
You know, that. It's like, come on, man.
That's what they want to do. They want to, and that's what the women were trying to say, as far as like the whole, that's why they did the producer and the director of the Surviving R. Kelly want to hit him in his pocket, because they're saying that Black girls don't get the same just due as a white girl in a case as such. Now, I don't know that, and I'm not going to say, you know, or speak to that at all. But what I will say is that, again, these parents knew. When I watched that documentary, they sent their children there. And granted, you know, I'm not going to say all of them sent their child there to be controlled by him and like the acts that he wanted to do. And then they talked about him giving so many women herpes. Okay. I mean, and I don't want to sound callous about it, but okay, it's out there. You know what I mean? It's out there. Did he deliberately do it? Yeah, I don't know. He probably told them. They probably looked and was like, why do I look like cauliflower? Like, oh, get out of here. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I don't know the control because I'm not them. But for those he did harm, I'm glad you got justice. I really am. Right. For those who just jumped on the bandwagon, like the young lady who lied, come on now. And the whole, let me say this real quick. And I think that it was like during this time of the Me Too movement, just like they got Bill Cosby. It's like, okay, here go the whole Me Too movement. They're bringing up Bill Clinton again. And then you got Monica Lewinsky doing, you know, doing interviews and stuff. I'm like, girl, bye. Just go ahead down the history, be the grandmother that bought for apples. You know what I mean? I bought for presidents. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And it's the whole Me Too movement. And for those who really are affected by Me Too, right. Yes, I think it's a great movement. I want to say who actually started that, American activist, when the hashtag Me Too, is Tarana Burke. Tarana Burke, she's a 48-year-old female. And it started in 2006. And you see how that happened now. Remember when they tried to switch it and take it? Oh, well, hold up. I started this, and I'm glad she did her thing. That's why I said her age. She was like, oh, no. I started this. The Cuomo brothers. Now the one, not Chris, the governor, New York.
Yeah, Governor Cuomo.
Yeah, him. So you have women that are coming out, and yes, if he, you know, offended you in any way, I don't understand why you can't speak it. If you speak it and you say, please don't, then move on. But how many relationships have changed? And the reason I say change is because a lot of relationships, a lot of divorces happen because of an affair at work. So you had some people feeling like, well, you shouldn't be trying to date anybody that you work with. At least I know they got a job. And then, you know what I mean? That's me. I'm looking like, oh, okay, well, I know where, I know he worked. Okay, the governor. Thank you, governor. But if you have touched me or did something and I told you to stop and you continue, that's the issue. But a first offense, come on. Just like with Chris, the issue with Chris, with the one lady that came out, he apologized to her back in 2005, I think it was. I think it was 2005. He apologized in front of her husband. And now you're bringing that back up now. So that's why I just feel like they're just jumping on this bandwagon and diminishing it, pretty much watering it down, diluting the Me Too movement. You know what I mean? When it was for this, and then you have people just jumping on the bandwagon trying to get something.
Well, see, my thing of it is the Me Too movement. I feel like it should be to protect and not to harm people, you know, not to try to throw people under the bus, but, you know, to protect women and also like help people understand that it's important that no means no, you
Mhm,
know, because if somebody says no, respect that about them,
mhm,
regardless if they're a man or a female, especially with women. Women should be protected, you know,
mhm.
because, you know, when you look at other religions, you know, women are not protected, you know, they are just treated as, as
Baby factories, because you know in
you know,
some
the baby
countries they
factories,
circumcise women.
right, right. In Africa, you know, they are, you know, they do those different particular rituals that they've done for a long time, you know,
Mhm,
traditions or rituals, however you want to call it.
mhm.
And to me, I feel like the women of this country and other countries should be protected, you know, but also I feel like the women should not be, you know, degraded or disrespected in any type of way, especially when they are not looking for somebody to make an advance towards them. You know what I'm saying? And you take advantage of that and, you know, and put their job in jeopardy or make them feel uncomfortable. I don't think that that's cool at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like you should put people in a position where they should, you know, they don't want to come to work or they feel stressed out because of this person's making advances, this person's making me feel uncomfortable. That's not
We
cool.
wanted advances.
You know,
And
that's not cool at all.
okay, the one for Governor Cuomo, I think he asked one out to dinner or something like that. So
Mhm.
when you say wanted advances versus unwanted advances, how do you know it's unwanted if you don't ask?
Right. Well, it's the thing called communication. So you have to communicate to understand what's what. You know
Now,
what I'm
see,
saying?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because it's almost like, and when I see these, I, I see these different cases coming up and against these men, and it's
Mm.
like, that was one conversation. Did you say you were offended? You know what I mean? And it's almost like some of these attorneys are just going out, oh, he did that. Okay. Oh, he brushed against you. Okay. You know what I mean? And it's like, wait a second. So I'm going to ask you this for the females who pretend, and I'm going way over, who lie, I won't say pretend, they're upset with a guy and they say that he raped her or he hit her, you know what I mean? Or physically assaulted her. And then you find out it's a lie. What do you think their punishment should be?
I think their punishment should fit the crime. You know what I'm saying? If a man has went to jail for rape, if he didn't did like 9, 10 years of his life
Mhm,
because of your lie and has cost him his livelihood, I feel that that person should get exactly what that person went. The person that has went to prison, they deserve that same term because I feel like if you lie, you ruin somebody's life on a lie, you deserve the same punishment.
mhm,
You know, I feel that that is fair because you ruin somebody's life over a lie. You know what I'm saying? And that you cost that person their life. You don't know what that person might have had in their future. You don't know where that person was headed. And you turn around and lie on that person and cost that person all that time. I feel you deserve to go to prison just as long as that person went to prison. Because you've had a lot of cases that have come out about DNA evidence that hasn't that's proven that this person didn't do it, but yet still they sat in prison for 40 years.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you look at these cases and you see these different things that come out, I feel that these women that lie on men to get them caught up, they scandalous for that, number one, because if he don't want you no more or he's done with you. And getting back to the Me Too movement, a lot of times these men in power feel that they can do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? I don't feel that that's cool because I feel like if you're in a powerful position, you need to be aware of your power. Like Spider-Man's
Think,
auntie said, with great power comes great responsibility.
and that's the truth.
So you
And
have
that's
to
the
be
truth.
aware of the power that you have. So you can't just go out and abuse the power. I have a problem with people that abuse power.
Yeah,
You know
what
what I'm
is that?
saying?
What is that? Too much is given, much is required.
Exactly. So it's like to me that when you are in a position of power, it's like you have to be aware of your power because a lot of times people take advantage of the fact that, well, I have power to do this, I have power to do that. Just because you're mortal doesn't mean that you can act immortal. And a lot of times people do that. You know, they take they take their position and they use their position in ways where it shouldn't be used.
I
You
eat a
know, and
big head.
yeah, they have an ego and they let their ego take over. And that's how a lot of people are consumed because of their ego. You know, and my whole thing of it is, in R. Kelly's case, I believe that his ego has consumed him and has also cost him. Because to me, in my opinion about R. Kelly, this man should have been still making music. He should still be producing. He should still be touring because he is definitely that talent. R. Kelly is one of the greatest singers of our time. And the reason why I say that is because when he came on the BET Awards one year and he just sang a cappella.
Oh, he can sing.
The man is vocally incredible, but you let your personal life consume your talent and your business. And now it's costing you
Yeah,
because you're letting your, as they say, you're letting your little head think for your big head.
Now they said
And
that he was having those issues even in school. Like I said, I went back to, I want to say it's his music teacher, but she was speaking and she saw it. And she was, so he had a lot of warnings.
Right.
A lot of warnings, and then it just over, you know, the power.
But here's the thing: if there were warning signs, then why wasn't he getting the help then? You know, why wasn't somebody?
You know, he paid some people off.
He
paid some people off, and I don't live in Chicago. You know, they're running that mayor to death. You see how she looking these days. You know what I'm saying? So, but they had a bunch of cases in Chicago. He still has to face charges there as well. And I guess he was just paying it. And then by the time he got, you know, all the way out here, you know, we know.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh man. So, but you know what they say? What is it? The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll let you like get yourself all the way up there. Okay, boom, we'll make an impact.
And knock you right off the mountain. And that's what happens, you know. And like I said, with him, like I said, a great talent. You know, I can't take away from the man's talent. The man can sing about anything and make it a hit. Anything and make it a hit, but it has cost you. It has cost you your livelihood. It has cost you your life. You know, it has cost you your legacy. You know, and it's really sad that, you know, that this is happening. It's really tragic. You know, especially me as a Black man, I feel it's a tragedy because here it is again. Another one of our Black men down the drain. So for me, it's like, yeah, it bothers me. So it's like, you know, I hate to see another Black man, you know, being burned at the stake, but he did it to himself. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's like, you know, when it's one of our own people, because I'm big about our people. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of things that have went on with our people is just really sad that people have to go through these things and go through these situations. But when you have mental trauma, and people are not looking at that, when you have mental trauma, you have to be aware. Mental illness is real. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like being a pedophile is a mental illness because of the things that they have went through and dealt with in their past or in their childhood. And a lot of times and I'm just gonna say it, we as Pan-African Americans, I'll put it that way, that we always brush over mental illness, but now it's even more prevalent now with all the things that are going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because
we do kind of keep that in-house because, you know, you have that, you know, even we didn't really have people, we didn't put our people in the hospital. If you look at our culture, you know, we had people up in the room, like Soul Food, Uncle Pete, oh, he up in the room, boom. And usually you had that, and I'm using air quotes, so don't get me Soul Food producers and stuff. You might have Uncle Pete may have messed with this person, or you may have grandpa or uncle so-and-so mess with this person, and you just kept it quiet.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, and like move on.
Incest has been going on all the time. Incest has been going on since slavery. You know what I'm saying? That's not nothing new. You know what I'm saying? That's been going on in the family, and people have brushed over it. You know, they've swept it under the rug, and it's not cool.
That's why I was thinking with that whole, and I'm not making light of trafficking, And I'm thinking that it might be, you know, they say like Black girls don't get the same justice as white girls. And it could definitely be, you know, our history comes from us being kings and queens. So I don't want to just start on the whole slavery thing, because that's what we're taught just right there. No, that's not our history.
We come from greatness.
Right.
You know, we come from a land that was rich in resources and
absolutely. And
and
this is what I want to say. So when you say slavery, you go back when we were sold. And then you even go back watching, okay, The Color Purple, since, you know, that's, you know, a lot of people saw the musical, but a lot of us saw the movie. You saw that when he won't see Lee. He was like, I'll take, what was it, the horse or the cow? He was like, well, you take her, I'll give it to you. And not justifying R. Kelly's situation in no means, but you go with the trafficking, and it is illegal, you know what I mean? And like the racketeering, like it's a whole ring of thing, and this is how it's going. I just don't see the racketeering part of it, but I just think it's really interesting because I see those parents. That's what I looked at when I saw those parents I say they just sold their children.
Well, the racketeering part of it it was more or less dealing with the bribery, you know what I'm saying?
What bribery?
Because he was bribing people to, you know, he was trying to keep people quiet.
Well, he paid them.
Yeah.
And then they can't say nothing else about it.
Right.
And now, can you separate the art from the artist?
I believe that you can, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, music is still music, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what he's done in his personal life, like I said, his talent is still amazing, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at. He's still an amazing talent beyond what he's done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, his music is still being played to this day. You know what I'm saying? There's people that's not gonna stop listening to his music because of what he's done. You hear people say that. I'm not gonna stop listening to R. Kelly's music because what he did, you know, people still love his music, you know? So it's like, they're gonna still continue to listen to his music. You know, they're not gonna be able to stop or ban his music. You know what I'm saying? People love him no matter what the situation.
Like I was saying, they went on and they were saying that they were trying to stop his music. You know, that's what that was the purpose for the whole Surviving R. Kelly, is to stop his music, to hit him in his pockets. Well, he don't have anything. And then the wife that was sitting there talking about her children now, talking about, this is my children's legacy, and want somebody to feel sorry for her. I don't feel sorry for her. I'm like, you were on there too. You were on there too.
My whole thing of it is that feeling sorry for her is like, you knew, you know what I'm saying? You knew what you were getting into. You know what he was about. Like, she was talking about walking on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you're walking on eggshells. Why? When you had a choice. You had children with this.
You didn't want to give up the lifestyle.
Right, when you had a choice. You saw the lifestyle, you saw how he was living, but you also know what he was living and how he was living. You know what he was doing.
Now, how many females are in abusive relationships because they don't want to leave the lifestyle? Tons
of them, because they look at the money, they look at, you know, what they're losing, but yet and still they want to live in that lifestyle. I mean, what movie was that Tyler Perry had did where, you know, Blair Underwood was the abusive husband, you know, the abusive fiance.
What was that called? I forgot the name of that.
That's the name of that one too, but you know.
And it was another one too. It was another one where, remember, he put her out and was dating somebody out the job. I can't remember that one. The name of it.
Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
There you go. That
one. So women, it's like you have a choice. You know what I'm saying? So it's either you run or you stay. And it's like a lot of times they choose to stay because, you know, of what they lose. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think he did a movie where it says he did another movie that says I could be bad all by myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would rather see somebody walk away than lose their life or be in that mental trauma forever, because basically when you're in that situation, you mentally lose it. you
Yeah,
mentally lose yourself and you get depressed and you start dealing with drugs and alcohol and even thoughts
all
of
kind of
suicide,
other
right?
things to
You
cope.
know, so you have to be aware of the mental trauma, and it's sad because I don't like when people pacify things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, people sugarcoat things in a way where, oh, you'll be all right, it's okay, it's nothing. And you do that. And then when something really happens, then it's like, oh, that really happened. No, because you didn't, you're not paying attention. You're not giving that person that, the attention they need or that help. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Sometimes people cry for help and people aren't listening. Oh, they all right, they good. They ignore it. And I don't think that that's cool. You have to pay attention to people because, suicide is at a high rate. You know what I'm saying? And we're losing people every day,
Mhm.
and it's sad because, you know, people aren't paying attention. They
Mhm.
think it's okay and it's really not, and it's just really sad. But
Mhm.
as far as R. Kelly goes, yeah, he's gonna do some time. He's gonna be singing a whole lot of jailhouse rock. You know what I
Listen
mean?
here, he gonna be writing like a mug.
Yeah.
He is gonna be writing like a mug on the
We
walls,
gonna see R.
putting
Kelly
out
for a
his
long
next hits.
yeah.
Putting out
And
his next hits. Let's talk about what's going on. Some shop topics real quick. Trump. Trump had sued Omarosa. Speak, hey, Youngstown. Look,
so
yeah, look, Youngstown. Yeah.
there we go.
Listen, he got like you bully, you got yourself. You got one right there from the yo, you know what I mean? We know
Right.
her as Oni, but I will say that name Omarosa, it stands alone, don't it? Just one, we only know one Omarosa.
You
Um,
know, and I,
Go
I could
ahead.
say I could say one thing about Omarosa, like I said, I've known Omarosa for a long time, and me and her have always been cool. It's always been cordial. All the stuff that I see and hear about, see her do, it's like, that's not the Omarosa I know.
Right, right.
You but I'm gonna say this, where she came from and where she got to, it's like, it's like amazing to me because she came right off of Delaware Avenue, which we all
Yes, yes.
grew up within blocks of each other. So to see her reach the caliber that she reached, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud of her on one note, but then on another note, it's
How
like,
you got there?
yeah, how did you get there? What did you do to get here? Because I remember when she worked with the Clintons, she was
Oh,
on that.
oh man, we was rooting her on, right? That was
Oh,
it.
no doubt. Yeah, super happy about it. I remember, back in the day, modeling with her, working with her in drama club. And like I said, we've always been cool. When her brother passed, I seen her at Walmart. We talked, we chopped it up. It wasn't a bunch of like Showtime stuff. It was like we real people. Hey, Art, how you doing? Hey, Omarosa, good to see you. It was that type of vibe. But
Mhm.
to hear Trump suing her, it's like, really?
But listen, no.
Wow.
But this is the part. This is the part. Yeah, Trump is suing her for NDA for her book, her New York bestseller list. Shout out to you, Oni, big time. I'm excited. And it's a victory for her. I'm so happy. She was for those who don't know who Omarosa is, I'm shocked. If you don't, but go girl. Okay. She was his political aide and he lost.
Mm-hmm.
He lost. It was such a victory for her. Let me tell you how cold. It's such a victory for her. It was his campaign that was suing her for the NDA, the non-disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want her to speak on him.
Mm-hmm.
Which means she won. They have to pay
Mm-hmm.
all her legal fees,
Mm-hmm.
court costs, everything. So his campaign, so all those people, his supporters, the people who had $5, $10, that's who's
Right.
paying her well into the seven. Her legal fees is well into seven figures.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the ones that got to pay. So here is my next question: do you believe us is in our culture, the way we are, us as a people, we forgive people? Because it was a time where. Let me let you answer that first. Do you believe we're forgiving people?
I believe that we are. It depends on the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as the saying goes, if you didn't slay my dog or kill my cat, like I could forgive anything. I've been in situations where I've had to forgive people. You know what I'm saying? And move on. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as Omarosa goes, she's a very intelligent woman.
Oh, extremely. Extremely.
She's so strategic and things of that nature. You know, it's like for her to get different things going on, it's like, you know, it's amazing. So for me, it's like to hear about that, and of course, you know, like I said, when she makes a move, she knows what she's doing. It's
Always strategic. It's strategic. And
I feel as far as the forgiving, I believe we are very forgiving people. We've been forgiving for over 400 plus years.
right,
you know what I'm saying? But in certain situations, I don't think we should be forgiven. But in certain situations, I do believe we should be forgiven.
And you know what's so interesting? Go ahead. Go ahead.
It depends on the situation, you know, as far as what is forgiveness about.
Now, here's the thing, and the reason I brought that up is because for a moment, people weren't feeling Omarosa, where it was like, no, we're done, putting her in the box with Stacey Dash, and you know, like, okay, we're done, we're not playing with you. Just like with Tim Scott. These are air quotes to the listening audience, are vanilla wafers, black on the outside, white on the inside. And not that people are racist, but I think that, you know, or oh Lord, or Rachel. This is how the Rachel thing. Listen, sorry, you listening audience. Listen, oh my God, this is so funny. This is so funny watching your facial expressions, but just stay focused right here, right here.
I'm trying to stay focused here. Go ahead, I'm listening. I gotta move for a second. Yeah, go ahead. I gotta move for a second.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, you're listening. All right, here we go. Let's do this. The with Omarosa, was a lot of Black people that felt some type of way, like she's a sellout, she's this, she's that. I think people need to be exactly who they are and allow them to be who they are. Let me tell you, just like you said, she's extremely, I said she's strategic. You said she's extremely intelligent. And yes, she's going to do things to work in her favor. It was a victory, and I can't remember which article I read, but it did say, it had quotes. And I'm paraphrasing, and it said, yeah, the bully met his match, which was with her. I said, sure did. So this is a huge victory. Shout out to you. And it was not just a victory for her, it's a victory for everyone that signed the NDA in 2016 during that campaign. So all of them can talk. Oh, wait a minute, let me put you on it, because let me put you on mute so I can finish talking. That non-disclosure agreement, it was invalid under New York contract law. So everyone that was in that, you know, under that NDA in 2016 campaign, they're actually able to speak. So she kind of just did it for everybody. So I'm excited. You know, I'm excited for that. Now, I did talk about how the vanilla wafers, so how, you know, we tend to call like your Stacey Dash. Oni was on that, but now she back. Look, now people are accepting her back, you know. And
well, I mean, she was on some, as I like to say, buffoonery for a minute, you know. You know, when she was like, you all are gonna bow down to Trump, and I'm like, okay, really?
right.
You bugging right now, you know, well, but that's a whole other story.
And Senator Tim Scott. Now, here's the thing. Who is Senator Tim Scott? The lovely people want to know. Well, I'm gonna tell you, you might know him as the guy who was spearheading the George Floyd Justice Act. Well, now he's not. It's a no-go. He backpedaled from that. Matter of fact, he was speaking on another show. I want to say it was Face the Nation. I think it was like Face the Nation back in June, where he was speaking a whole nother language about it. And this particular George Floyd Justice Act was about defunding the police.
Right.
Well, what he was saying was he was banning the chokehold. That's what it was. Banning the chokehold. And now he's like, okay, wait, he don't want to defund the police. Now, a lot of people were thinking like, okay, we're just gonna take the money away and blah, 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 blah. But it's being allocated in different departments. So what he said recently, now before it was like, no, we're not doing that at all. That was going to be called again, the George Floyd Justice Act. Hear me clear. It's a no-go now because Tim Scott is like, no, he's not interested in it. The thing is, he said, if you have a no ban on the chokehold, you don't have access to the funds. So wouldn't that be the same? That's the same.
I would say that would be the same.
I'm like, give me a break, people. Like, so defunding the police, no funds if you don't have a no ban on the chokehold. It's just a mess. Everybody is just switching up, changing their mind, but I guess everyone is allowed to change their mind. So I'll just say it in this way. Tim Scott changed his mind. There you go. He changed his mind. Now they did.
It's some undertone to that. It got to be some undertone to that because
you know it does. You know it does. Oh, I wanted to tell you too. I think the article was in The Hill where Trump, they banned him from posting all over the place because he got upset because he lost against Oni. So I wanted to put that out there, and I'm glad that he wasn't able to put that out there and screw, because you just keep things going. We're trying to do a little bit better, okay? We're just trying to do a little.
It's like this with Trump. Trump to me is like, I'm just gonna say it. And the quote of Joe Biden, you're the worst president in history.
No, Joe.
Joe Biden said it best. He's the worst president in history. I don't know what people were thinking when they voted for this man. And, you know, he's done this, he's done that. I'm like, the one thing I heard him say, and he was at a rally, it looked like he was at a rally in the airport. I don't know exactly where he was at. And he was an airport hangar. And he said these words, and I just watched it for like literally like 10 seconds. And he said this quote, and he said, we're gonna bring Christmas back. I know. Okay. When he said that, it just bothered me. I was like, okay, I'm turning this off. Because I've never seen anybody do, you know, the things that he's done in a political office. And how is that you don't know that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States? Come on.
You know what that says?
I know.
That says that anybody can be president.
Right.
And to me, that was a prestigious position. And, you know, you held it to high esteem. And I got to be honest, once he got in there, I'm looking like, oh, this is like a meeting, you know, at the help center or something. You know what I mean? Like at the rec center. We're just like, okay, we're going to get this group together and this is what we're going to do, and you be the president. Like, he wouldn't even be the president in there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be the business manager though.
It's crazy. I mean, that whole situation, like I said, that's a whole nother topic. And for him to cry about the fact that he lost, and he lost in a big way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, to this day, it's like, why are you crying and you lost? It's like people, especially Black people, especially our people, we went out and voted early because it was like, you got to get him out of here because he don't know what he's doing. Like, with everything that went on, even with what we're currently dealing with our pandemic and the whole you know, variant everything, it's like, the only thing he had to do was shut America down. But your greed and your self-absorbency, your ego, your arrogance is what cost America.
Yes.
You know, and with everything that's going on.
Yes. So, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up when you said with the pandemic and the variant. With the COVID, with COVID and the variant, there was a question last week that was asked, and I said I was going to check on it to see, you know, I said, I'll get you some answers. I did speak to several physicians, and it was, does the COVID-19 vaccine, which was an excellent question, does the COVID-19 vaccine cover the new variant? the Delta variant.
Right.
And I did not receive a definitive answer. So I want you to know that. Listen, wait a minute. I want the person who asked the question to know that your question did not go void. I heard you. I asked a few physicians, some of the coworkers, you know, some of my doctors that I work with, and I said, I want to know. I even reached out to the CDC, and they said they have to do more research, but right now, this is the best way. You know, make sure you get your vaccine. So the answer is still unanswered. I just wanted to put that out there, but definitely wear your mask. Wear your mask, people. And right before Art, I'm gonna let you take the mic in 1 second. Wear your mask, and for those who you continue to wear your mask and it's a cloth mask, and you have somebody right in your face, you got to wash those masks. Okay, I was getting ready to say shampoo them, you know, like your hair. Wash your mask, you know what I mean? Because you're touching the outside and touching, you know, yourself as well. So you know, you might be touching the outside, rub your eye, the whole nine. So you have to wash the your masks that are made of cloth as well. Your covering, I'll put it that way, whatever your covering may be. Go ahead. You want to elaborate on that?
You know, and you have to keep your hands clean, and you have to be aware of what you touch, you know, and it's just, I mean, it's so heartbreaking, you know, that we have lost so many people to this, you know, to this pandemic. You know, it's like within 3 weeks, I mean, within 2 weeks, I've lost, you know, three very important people in my life, I guess you could say, people I've known for years. And it's sad because you just keep on hearing about it, and just people really need to be safe, and people really need to be aware, you know what I'm saying, that this thing is still running rampant, because people are losing their lives every day. And just my heart goes out to everyone who has lost a family member or friend or somebody that they know to this, you know, to this terrible pandemic. You know, we just have to be aware, and we have to stay, you know, we have to stay
knowledgeable. We have to stay knowledgeable about this. And I do want to add, it's physicians practicing medicine. You have to go to the CDC website, cdc.gov. Get your information. It's updated daily. I constantly go on, and I understand the frustration that people may have when it's like, okay, one day they said this, the next day they said that. So every day we're constantly, and I say we, and myself and Art being in the medical field, you know, all of us play a part. We're constantly learning things. We're learning every single day, and what works and what doesn't work. Now, I will say this. I'm not telling you to get vaccinated. I'm not telling you not to get vaccinated. It's totally your choice. What was that you said, that quote that you said earlier?
I quoted Jay Prince. He said that every day we wake up, we have a choice and a chance.
There you go.
That's important. And there's and a lot of people don't really know about this or talk about it, but like in one instance, I did have COVID, you know. But the thing
remember?
Oh yeah. But here's the thing.
We both were together.
Right. Here's the thing that my doctor said to me, though. He said the body does create antibodies. So have your doctor check your blood to see if you have antibodies.
Yes.
So that's important, you know. So because and like you said, you can't tell a person yay or nay on the shot, but it's important that we still stay safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, stay safe.
And be vigilant of what's going on, and keep up with the different information that does come out. So it's important.
Now I will tell you one thing that's interesting. And that's why I was smiling, because I was sitting in my car and I wanted some Jell-O. So I was gonna go into the store. But I watched 4 people walk in with no mask. And it had on the door, mask required.
Right.
Now, granted, even if you are vaccinated, fully vaxxed, you still can be a carrier. And I remember, you know, how it was, they didn't know if it was contact, you know, all that stuff. And you don't know how long it lives on an object. And I'm just looking like, oh my gosh, look at there. So guess who didn't get the Jell-O? I said, no lie. I sat in the car for 42 minutes. And this is why, because I'm watching them go in. I was like, okay, let me let that air, let the store air out a little bit, you know, But I kept saying, and they kept going in with no mask. I did not want to inhale that, even though I had my covering. And I was like, you know what? Everybody's so lax. And it's not over yet.
We just need to be careful. We need to still practice safety. We need to still practice social distancing because this thing is not stopping. We have to be aware of it. You know, I'm like sometimes, and I'm gonna be honest for me myself, I have not worn my mask in the store. I forgot my mask and I had to go back, get my mask on because regardless of the fact, we still need to be aware. Some people do.
You went out on me. Okay, the mute. There you go. Go ahead.
I feel like some people still need to be wearing their mask and still need to be vigilant of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not leaving, it's getting worse. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wear your covering. And there are those who cannot get vaccinated.
Right.
And what I don't like is that people tend to don't bully someone who just because they're not getting vaccinated. I feel like you're acting like the unvaxxed are the ones that are spreading it. You're the carrier, right? And here's what's interesting. I'm like, can you go back 6 months? Just go back 6 months, and it's like, okay, wear your covering because you don't. And people were getting vaccinated because they didn't want to give it to a loved one that may be immunocompromised. You know what I mean? But you still, and it said you still can be a carrier. And now they're switching it and flipping it to where, and these are the people that are saying, okay, well, it's you that's spreading it. You know what I mean? And you know how they be like, oh, it's usually the unvaxxed, the ones that are spreading it. And it's like, come on, you gotta know. Listen to the science. If you want to listen to the science, listen to all the science.
Right. But technically, they don't know how it's even spreading.
Right.
So they haven't even discovered how it's spreading.
Right. So that's still, that's still in place. But just cover, wear your coverings. And treat those symptoms, please. I'm going to say that as a nurse. There's the science for y'all. Okay, but even though I'm radio host right now, look, there's the science. Wear your covering. Wash your hands when you get the opportunity to wash your hands with soap and water. Please do so. Yeah. Because the alcohol, the hand sanitizer, you can't just use that every day, all day. And in our field, it's actually I always did it at one use before you go into the other room, but it's like 3. Before you go into another room. I said, when I have a sink, that's what I'm doing, soap and water at all times. All right, let's get on here. Let's get on to the next topic before we get ready. Look, the show about to be over. Look, it got too good, too good. When you get married, do you marry the family?
Of course.
You marry the family?
Of course.
So, go ahead.
I got a big problem with this. Oh man.
Like, go ahead.
You know what? Because it's 2 people joining. And if you have children, that means that like say for instance, I'm an only child. But if the woman I'm married to has brothers and sisters and we have children, those are their nieces and nephews. So I have a problem with people who just want the husband and don't want the whole package. You know, it's like you can't just marry a person and then don't accept their family. That's not cool at all, because that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's son, or that's somebody's niece, that's somebody's nephew, that's somebody's cousin. You know, and I have a problem with people who do that. It's like, why would you marry somebody and not accept their family? That's not cool. The whole purpose of marrying somebody is to join the family. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in the title brother-in-law, sister-in-law, mother-in-law. No, it's mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, because it was love the reason why you fell in with this person. And it's not law. True enough, you're married by law, but it's love that brought you two together. So I have a problem with that when people don't accept the whole family. And I've seen that for a long time, and I've never really liked that. You know, I've never really liked that whole situation with a person.
And I'm speaking extended family, not like if you marry someone who has children, and I'm just going to say this, if you marry someone and they have children and you cannot deal with their child, you don't love that person, because that child is part of them.
That's a package.
Yeah.
You cannot be in love with a man or a woman who has a child and you cannot accept their package deal. If they had a child before you, that child is a part of their life. And that child has to be loved equally. Just as you love that man, you have to equally love that child. You can't just love the man and say, well, skip past the child. No, that child is a part of that man or that woman. So if you're coming into that situation and not accepting the package deal, then you're totally being unfair.
And that's the Shop Talk question of the week. I didn't put that out there. Okay, so here's, I'm going to read these off, okay? All right. I didn't marry him because I did not like his child's mother.
Well, that's
and let me get this, let me give you a little more background. Okay?
Right there. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I did not marry him because I did not like his child's mother. He's 5 years old, and I knew I was going to have to deal with her because he never put his foot down. But she truly loved him.
Well, here's a situation with that. If it's a child situation.
Oh, go ahead. Look, he gotta get things together. So that is the Shop Talk question of the week. Do you marry the family? And yes, I will actually say that when you're in a relationship and your partner already has children and they have children with someone else, unfortunately, in some fortunate cases, see, I love my wife-in-law, they're family. They're family. And see, usually to me, and this is just my opinion, usually when you have someone who has an issue, or that the child's mother or the child's father is always there is a 99.9% chance that they still want the individual. Now, if they don't want the individual, that's totally different. Go ahead. You want to go ahead and weigh in on? Go ahead.
The way I feel about that is that it's like it has to be a mutual respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, if the parents are not getting along, that's a problem. So it's like I kind of been in that situation in a sense, but it's always been respectful. It's always been amicable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a son, I had an older son, you know what I'm saying? So, when it boiled down to it, it was like, when I introduced him to who I was about to be involved with, there was mutual respect, you know what I'm saying? And even to the point where, me, his mother, his grandmother, his grandfather, the person I was with, sat down and had dinner, because it was a mutual, because, she was pregnant at the time with my child. So it was like, listen, this is who I'm with. This is what it is. This, this is the whole situation. So it's always been a respect factor. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like when it boils down to it, it's up to the adults to be adults about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have kids, because it affects the kids as well. If they seeing the parents arguing and going back and forth, that affects them, because that's their mom, that's their dad, and then they have this new person in the middle. So then they're caught up in the middle, and it's like, okay, what are they supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about a mutual respect. That's what it's all about.
Okay, so do you think she was right in leaving that relationship?
I don't know, because I'm not in that relationship. So
no, I gave you the scenario.
Give it to me again. Just a little bit.
Okay. 5-year-old son. she was not willing to tolerate the son's mother, so she did not marry the guy, even though she loved him, and she said he was only 5 years old, and he didn't, set boundaries. That's what it was. It was a boundary issue. And
Well,
she wasn't, so pretty much she wasn't dealing with all the extras, and she
that's the
knew
problem.
that wasn't going to go away.
Well, I feel like she was right, because if he's not setting any boundaries and he's not establishing, look, this is who I'm with, this is who I'm marrying, and he's not doing that, and he's not sitting down and talking to her and saying, look, this is what it is, and if you don't like it, oh well, then I don't blame the woman that he was going to marry for her saying, I'm not doing this, I'm good. Because if you love that person and you want to be with that person, you're going to make it understood. You're going to respect, because respect is the key word. You're going to respect this situation right here. You're going to respect who I'm with. You're going to respect her, because like I said, if they love each other and they're in this relationship, then it's about them. And then, like I said, it has to be a mutual understanding, because they should, in my opinion, they should have had a come to Jesus meeting. Everybody should have sat down at the table and said, look, this is what it is. Hey, I'm with her. This is what I'm planning on being with. You know what I'm saying? Hey, she treats her, long as they're treating the child with respect, and they're treating that child as the package deal. And I don't like to say package deal, but that's what it is, because that's a part of that person's life. That child is a part of that person's life. Then it should be respect factor. And if it's not going to be a respect factor, then she should walk away.
I like that you use the term package deal, because some people look at it as baggage.
No, it's not baggage. Your child is not baggage. I don't like that. Your child is a part of your life. That is a part of you. That child comes from you. That child is a part of you and another person. So yeah, it's a package deal. And the reason why I say package deal, because if you have a child and you're with somebody, that child will be with you for a lifetime, because that's your child. So it's like, it's a package deal in the respect of the matter of that, hey, if you're gonna love me, you have to love my children. And you have those people
that hope that they would, though. You would hope that they would.
But some people don't. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't like kids, or some people don't want the package deal. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the person. You know what I'm saying? Some people can handle the package deal, some people can't. You know what I mean? It depends on the baby mama drama. You know what I'm saying? Because you always got them crazy baby mamas that be out here doing crazy stuff.
Not at this age. Not you know what? Baby mama drama at this age, I'm out of here. If you can't control that, I'm out. I'm totally out. Like that is
what it should
nuts.
be. You should be out. You should be out when somebody's not handling their business, I guess you would say. You know what I'm saying? Not doing what they need to do. Like I said, as coming from a man's perspective, I can't speak from a woman perspective, but coming from a man perspective, if I'm in love with this woman and I'm with this woman, then my whole thing of it is that you're gonna respect my situation. You're not gonna come disrespected. You're not gonna come talking crazy to her, and like I said, as long as it's a mutual understanding, like in my case, it's always been a mutual understanding. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be no disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Because we have children. And like I said, it's going to be a respect factor when it comes to the children. It always has been, always will be.
Okay. And yeah, that was great advice too. I think that she did. I agree with you. I think she did the right thing, especially if her needs weren't going to be met, because you do have to. I call him my love guru, my relationship guru. I call him Doc King, and he was saying how you have to write things down, the pros and the cons. What do you accept in a relationship? What won't you accept, and not deviate away from that list that you have. And once you deviate away from that list, that's when you're headed for divorce. Or the relationship will end. I think that she did the right thing, because she knew that she couldn't tolerate it at the beginning, and she wasn't willing to put in the work. And when I say put in the work, because y'all already know how I think, I don't think a relationship at the beginning takes work. I don't. At the beginning, that's the honeymoon phase. Like, if you have to work at the beginning, that's not the relationship for you. It should just fall in place. And then once you invest time, then you want to work on it, you go right ahead and you work on it. But this is just me and my opinion, and it does not reflect the co-host of Shop Talk with Mel.
Right.
I do. I'm like, I'm not going into work. I'm like, no, this is supposed to be stress-free. If you have to work to get together,
you're not supposed
to be together.
You're not supposed to.
Right. And this young lady here that commented, she said no. And, you know, she has that, you know, a lot of different guys comment and say, well, why aren't you married? That's because she's choosing not to be. And it's not that, let me put this out here for my fellas that may be listening to the show. And then y'all know I love y'all because that's what most of my people that listen, most of my listeners are fellas. So ladies, pay attention. It's
well,
like this.
Can I interject?
What'd you say?
Can I interject and just say, you know, she's not desperate. You know what I'm saying? And she's not hard up, and she just ain't just trying to be married. She wants it to be a certain way, and there's nothing wrong with her having a choice.
Right. Yes. Right. And that's the way that I feel. Yeah, she chooses to not be. Right. And you have those that'll say, well, why aren't you married? Well, why aren't you? Something must be wrong with you. You look this way, you look, how come you? No, I choose not to, because let's be real, everyone can get married. It's what are you willing to put up with? And that's in the nutshell. Like when you marry somebody, like, okay, I'm gonna put up with your mess for the rest of my life. And then you said you made an agreement to say you're gonna put up with my mess for the rest of our life. But if it's something that you are missing on the onset, you're gonna miss it during the relationship. So don't, if you don't get it at the beginning, don't expect it to come at the end. Stop dating the potential. Stop dating the potential. Date who they are. Go ahead.
Here's the thing that I thought of years ago. Years ago, I was modeling for a wedding expo.
Okay.
And during the wedding expo, I was walking around, and it was like an epiphany that hit me. Like, why don't they have a booth that says, "Are you sure? Do you really want to do this? Do we really match?" You know, and I feel like they need to have some type of test or some type of booth that says, you know, put a test in front of the bride and the groom to see if they're really compatible. You know what I'm saying? To see if he really knows her favorite colors, to see if he really knows her favorite.
Does he know her?
Does he really know her? Do you really know him? Do you really know her? And it's like, I felt like they needed a booth there that said that. That just hit me like a ton of bricks as I was in the bridal, you know, in this bridal showcase, because my whole thing of it is, it's like, do you really know that person? You know, do you really think that this is the one for you? And then, like I said, that particular young lady made a choice. And her choice was, no, I'm not just going to accept this. And you don't have to accept anything, because you know what you want, you know what you don't want.
Yeah, so, and what you're willing to put up with.
Right, and what you will not put up with.
Now, as of 2021, divorce is on the rise. You guys can check the stats on that. It's on the rise. And here's another one. Somebody actually just made a comment. And they said that what pastors need to ask when you go to premarital counseling, some people don't believe in premarital counseling because they don't like other people in their business, but they should. They said pastors should ask, can you live with this person in a pandemic? Because as of 2020, divorce has been on the rise. So can you live with this person for 24 hours? Can this person be in your space for 24 hours, 365 days a year? Can you deal with that person? They need to make it plain. I thought it was pretty good. I was like, that's a good one.
That's a good question, because when you're with somebody for a long time, it's like, you know, you really see the real them, especially when you're locked away, you know.
In the closet. You're locked in the closet with this person.
Pretty much, yeah. You have to, you really learn a lot about a person and really see what's going on with them when you're in that particular situation. So the thing of it is, it's like, wow, do you really love this person? Are you really in love with this person? Do you really? And this is the question that people don't ask. Do you really like this person? Do you really love this person? And are you in love with this person? And those three formulas really play a part. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to like them, you got to love them, you got to be in love with them. So it's like, if you're in that situation, you're going to have to say, okay, do we really get it here? Are we really in love? Do we really like each other? Do we really, do we really want to be with each other? So
The
yeah,
test of time. The
Yeah.
test of time. Be in a hotel room for at least a week.
Yeah.
In the room.
That tells a story, you know.
You be like, oh no, well, we almost did this, right? And do it way before the wedding planning. Because a lot of people get married. Honestly, a lot of people go ahead and go through with the wedding because they've already invested and they don't want to disappoint the family.
I think people don't do enough research, and this is something I thought about years ago. I feel like sometimes you need to sit down with people that have been married for a long time.
Okay.
And just for them, and really get an understanding. I feel like it should be people that you love and respect, who've been around for a long time, who've been married for a long time. And I feel like it needs to be a couple's discussion, both of them together. And I feel like they need to split up, like the ladies go one way, the fellas go another way. Then I think it needs to switch. The man talks to the young woman and the young man talks to the old woman, and if I can put it that way. I feel like you really have to do your research about marriage, because you have to know, is it really for you? Are you with the right person? And it's the problem is, it's okay. People feel like it's not okay to say, well, you ain't for me. And
I think that's okay. I love the honesty. I think that people should. And there's a lot of females, and we got to close because if we run it over now, there's a lot of females who are reaching their time where they're like, oh, my clock is ticking. I'm about to have a child. And they marry the person that they think will make beautiful children. So they're looking at that.
That's not the thing to do, because the question is why? Why would you marry somebody just because you think you can make a beautiful child? That's not what it's about. You marry somebody because you love them. You want to spend the rest of your life with them. You want to grow with them. You want to grow old with them. You want to have experiences with them. You want to enjoy life with that person. That's what you really want to go for.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead.
And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
All right, we're going to go to a viewer we have here. They need to focus on each other and the future of their marriage, not the wedding day, because that day is just a celebration. And if you have two people that like to party, they just looking at the whole party. And most of the time they end up having an argument about the big celebration. You know what I mean? But that's what you do. So thank you for your advice. Today's footnote: always ask the question why.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, lovely people. Art, I thank you for coming on. You got to join me again. We always have such a good time, and I love your opinion and advice.
I got to join when I ain't got no kids. You know what I'm saying? My kids is running around
all day. You got to come into the studio. Once the pandemic over, come back into the studio. I'm trying to stay safe. Yeah, I'm trying to, stay safe, and we're doing it this way. But yes, we need that, because then we're all really focused in. And not distracted with, the outside distractions that we have. But there are children. And so you guys, I have. Thank you, RB, for coming on. And he is an active father. You see that right there.
Look, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Shout out to everybody. Stay safe. You know what I'm saying? Take care of yourself. Think healthy, be healthy. You know what I'm saying? And, and just be vigilant of what's going on in the world, you know what I'm saying, out here, because it's important. So thank you again, Mel, for having me. I appreciate it. My friend, my sister for life, anytime, hit me up, like I said, we'll do it again. Hopefully I have to feed my kids early and,
you gotta get them early. You gotta get them all together.
Gotta get them all together early, you know what I'm saying, and get them out the way. But thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. It was a good time and can't wait to do it again.
All right, truly a pleasure. All right, listening audience, I want to put this out here. You guys know Shop Talk with Mel every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Check out Brown Skin on Mondays, 4 to 5. That is a clear and uncut conversations about us. Nothing is off the table. So if you want to know about it, reach out to your girl. Let's see, the email address is shoptalkwithmel@yahoo.com. Check out the website, shoptalkwithmel.com. All socials, like us, share, comment, do it all at Shop Talk with Mel. And listen, I'm trying to get it going. Y'all gotta check out the YouTube page. Like the YouTube page so I can get some money up in this mug, okay? All right, find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people, you know what it is. Shop Talk right here every Saturday on all your social networks and your podcast, your favorite podcast. Under Let's Shop Talk, I got you covered. Peace.
Peace.